Hi guys, welcome to another Infinity Data Burst. This is the third one we're doing, and we're still kind of getting stuff together. So hopefully this is going to start looking a bit better, sounding a bit better, and looking a bit more professional.
No, I wouldn't make any promises on professional at all ever.
It's still three blokes talking rubbish, really.
Okay, so on this video, we are going to be looking at some icebergs, like the Titanic, and we're going to be looking at somebody's desk, not mine, because you can see mine over the shoulder. It's organised, and we're going to have a discussion about going second, because it's always a thing, isn't it? So, without further ado, let's have a start looking at some icebergs.
So, a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, I guess it would be now, in a previous data burst, I showed you my new snow mat from the still not sponsored by Deep Cut Studios.
We should be.
As a complete aside, did either of you see their new mat that they released this week? The Stalingrad one. That's quite nice. Anyway, carry on.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get a picture of that now and show it.
Well, there you go. It's creating work. So anyway, so I've started making icebergs, basically, which is my idea for the board. So I made 3 or 4 kind of test ones, which I quickly did sort of a week or 2 ago, and then this week I've been carving more ice sculptures. So I've got I've got some real blocks of ice. It doesn't tend to last that long. So no, it's the blue foam stuff that everybody uses, but mine's grey, obviously, which is just basically I ordered it from eBay, turned up and it was just grey sheets and things like that. So that's what I'm basically doing. And I'm a carver. I use a retractable knife. So rather than hot wire cutters and things like that, I just carve into it with a knife. Always good to get a few plasters as well. I kind of tend to cut myself quite a lot.
Yeah, you might want to ask an adult to do that.
Yeah, probably. Okay. Sharp on. So I'm doing kind of stylized kind of iceberg, kind of as if at some point there was a big crash of ice together and some of the shards came up at an angle, and the idea is as well they're fairly big, they're sort of building sized, so it's going to add some terrain on there as well.
I quite like the angle you've got there. I think that does look nice.
Yeah,
the 45-degree angle.
It's quite good. I started trying to make them a little flatter so that you could put a model on it, but it wasn't. I didn't think the angle was dramatic enough, so I forgot that and just did a steeper angle. I have made quite a big box one, which will be on the photos, which you can actually get a couple of models on the top of it. I've made a couple of little plateaus, so you will be able to stand some people on there. And obviously there's going to be some buildings and crates and this, that and the other on there as well.
Have you had any thoughts about how you're getting up and down them?
I kind of don't think anybody's getting up and down them really. I mean, because you can't stand on top of them really. So, I mean, I guess if you've got multi-terrain or mountain terrain or something, you could maybe climb over it or what have you. But it's not, you can't really get up and down it quite, that easily. I mean, I guess these little perches, you would have to climb up, climb down. Maybe you'd have to have somebody with climbing plus or something. But I thought just a couple of little perches, just maybe give somebody, somewhere to pop a sniper or something or other to look over the battlefield, just as something a little bit different.
Okay, we've got some pictures of them with Chopins in it. Are they painted ones, the finished painted ones?
Yeah. So I've popped kind of for scale, really. I put a little Silhouette 2 model next to them. It was little. Okay. Yeah. So I went for something a bit bigger, so you can see the scale of them really. So they're quite big. Like I say, the kind of.
Yeah. Have you painted it blue, or is there some?
Yeah. So once I've sculpted all the bits and pieces, I did a covering of masonry paint, white masonry paint. Then I got some Vallejo kind of deep blue. It's a bit like the blue-green colour that's used for the pano, but it's not. It's a bit deeper. And then I basically painted bits like the shadows with the blue, and then I sprayed the whole thing over the top with like a zenithal white spray, and it kind of gave it. I think it's given it quite a kind of a see-through bluey glow from inside. So yeah, been watching lots of like David Attenborough kind of documentaries and things when he goes to see the polar bears and the penguins, but not obviously at the same time because they don't live in the same poles. A little bit of education there as well. So basically,
that's what people tune in for. Is there's the little nuggets of
very
natural history.
much so. So anyway, that's what I've been up to. So that's my thing. I'm trying to get these done. We've got a tournament coming up in a couple of weeks' time. I'd quite like to get it done there, and then I'll put a few buildings and things in the middle and hopefully make a nice table out of it.
Excellent. Right. So, Stormshroud, what have you been up to? Or
we're going to talk about the fact that I have a problem.
You do. Oh. We know you've got many problems. But
I've got many problems. Okay, I've got the one problem I want to talk about. The one I want to share with the viewers is my hobby butterfly. I am terrible for this. I end up starting half a dozen projects. I think, oh, I'll just do that. That won't take very long, and then I don't quite get it finished. I'll just do that. That'll only take me a couple of evenings, and then I get distracted or some real life stuff gets in the way, and it also gets half done. Oh, I'll do that. That's a good idea. Or I'll be looking at a profile. I want to include that in a list, and I assemble it, and it never gets any further. At the moment, I think I've got 12 different projects on the go.
And what kind of projects are these, Greg?
Terrain projects. On my desk at the moment, I think I've got the terrain set that I talked about last time. I've got a floating noodle van, which I've had part done for ages.
Oh, right.
I've got my own years. I've got a green Jeep that I've had part done for years. I had an inkling to do a list for Ariadne with all my werewolves and bears, so I assembled all those and they haven't got any further. I've got an O12 Force which I've got painted up, which I've not assembled and undercoated and not doing. I'm terrible. There was a period last year before, well, I actually got it under control. I was doing really well. And then I think it was about November last year, it all fell apart when Defiance turned up. I thought, I must get that done. And I started doing that, but I only had another couple of things going. And I just sit at my desk, it's like, I don't know what to do.
So we like your therapy session today.
You all like my therapy session, yeah. I need help. I can't, am I the only one who does this? Am I the only one who has like a million projects on the go at the same time?
Yeah.
No, you're not the only person.
Oh, I thought you were saying he was the only one then for a minute.
And how do you guys get yourself out of this rut when you get yourself into it? Because I now sit at my hobby desk and I don't know what to do. I don't know which one to start.
When I have been in your position where I've had a full-time job and I've had other bits and pieces to do and I've done this, that and the other, and I've had lots of bits and pieces left unfinished. So I just picked up the one that's not going to take me too long to finish. So your noodle bar, for instance, that's been kicking around for years.
Or is it the scenery noodle bar thing?
Yeah, it's the one from Knights of... No, it's not. It's the one from Knights of Dice.
All right, okay.
It's the red thing with the green roof.
Probably been discontinued by now.
It has not been discontinued. I do have some stuff unassembled that has been discontinued, but that's another matter.
Oh, just pick up the thing. If it was me, I'd pick up whatever's going to take the least amount of time to finish and do that. And then that's one done. And then the next one, and that's done. And the next one, and that's done. And maybe...
But also, have you got something to work towards?
Don't start anything else.
Have you got something coming up where you'd want to, build a certain army for a certain time?
I had been thinking about bringing all the beasts along to the event we've got in a couple of weeks.
Right.
So that's a lot of models to paint.
That's not going to happen.
That's probably not going to happen. I guess I'd like to be. This is the problem. I sit there, oh, I'd like to do that. I'd like to do that, and then my brain just goes, eh. So, you know what? Let's go play a board game instead, and just walk away.
Yeah, I think I try to kind of do it by give myself a deadline for something. Pick one of the projects and try and do it.
Last year I had a point where I was really good and I had it all under control, but for sometime about November, when Defiance turned up, I started to do that. Yeah. When I already had a bunch of other stuff that I was doing. Yeah, I broke my brain. I need to I need to get it back under control. I might just put a bunch of them away so they're out of sight, and then just start doing other stuff and finish up the ones that are left.
Generally, nowadays, what I do is I work towards whatever I'm playing next. So if I've got a game coming up with for the channel, I'll try and paint something new then, and that's a project that with a deadline.
Things with HMGs normally, isn't it?
Lots of HMGs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I vented now. Thank you for my free therapy session.
No,
okay.
If the viewers have any good suggestions on how to fix it,
I was going to say, I'm not sure we've offered you any advice.
No,
really.
yeah, that's fine. I've vented. I feel better for venting.
You've admitted your problem. That's the thing.
I've admitted I have a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you going to
have a problem? You don't need to have an intervention for me. I accept that I have a problem. Okay.
What about the Morats? Is that going to be a problem for you? Because I do know you play
Morats.
Morats.
Morats are nobody's problem. Morats are awesome. The new Morats, that might be a problem.
Okay. You're going to have to clear a space. Maybe that's what you need to do. Clear a space on your desk, ready for the Morats.
Clear a space ready for the Morats. That's a good idea.
Well, okay. So moving on, we'll just cover all your mess up in the corner. Right. So something I've noticed over the last year or so is, especially on the channel and games I've played, is that if you go first, you're pretty much going to win, and if you go second, you're pretty much going to get finished off from the first round. Then you're going to be on the back foot for the rest of the game, and you're probably not going to get there. So I've got the question to ask you two wise gentlemen and the guys at home. If you put a comment at the bottom.
Wise gentlemen. Wow.
Wise gentlemen. Yeah, I'm being really nice because we're on camera. And
nice.
Yeah, is how do you survive going second? So how do you survive being on the receiving end? So you've probably set up second, okay, but the thing is, you've got kind of, as far as I can see, you've got two options. You could be out in the open and get those arrows, or you can turtle up and hide and try and stay out of the way. Now, the first one is that if you try and go for the lots of arrows, your opponent for both scenarios is going to get into a position where he can just see one and take that one out, see the next one, take that one out, see the next one, take that one out. So you two being a lot wiser than I am, how do you survive going second?
You don't. Isn't that the answer? Oh no.
Okay. The game's well. Let's go.
I mean, I think it's changed in N4 what your solution is, because I think it used to be you'd leave a few ARO things out. But now with some of the link teams, and you've got the big guy with the HMG or whatever in the link team with extra burst and extra, BS skill, I don't think you can leave things out anymore because it's just going to get killed. It's not like, unless you've got something like really, with a couple of wounds, heavy armor or something, it's just going to get done. So I think I've heard it referred to the null deployment is what I would recommend. So you almost don't put anything out. You kind of half put things around corners and things. So the guy who's going first has to spend orders to get to your troops. And then at that point, you kind of engage in ARO, when they've already had to spend a couple of orders to get anywhere near you. That's what I tried to do. I tried to make it hard to get to my troops. And the problem is it does open up the board for the other player. However, you've still got quite a lot of your army left over by the end of the first turn, or for your first turn, which is obviously what you're trying to get.
Which is my problem, yeah.
So, I mean, I've seen games on the channel that you guys have set up quite a lot of AROs. There was one particularly actually with playing Morats, and he kind of left loads of AROs out, and you just kind of wandered around and shot one at a time across the board.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I think that would have or could have worked maybe in N3, but I think now with the new fire teams and everything, I don't think that works anymore. Perhaps when the new fire team rules come out, it will change again. But I think you need to be really, really a bit cagey.
So basically, if I deploy second, more than likely, and deploy in such a way that my guys are in a position where my opponent's got to spend his 10 orders, his 15 orders to get to me, he's going to have less orders to actually pull the trigger at the end. That's
basically that's what
then hopefully he's overextended, and I can kind of when I get my active turn, I can then run out and get him.
But also, it's kind of a trap because you can make them overextend, come too far across the board, and then maybe hack them or trap them somehow. Make them come too far, and then in your turn, the nearer you can just pounce, or like I say, hack them, stop, make them go a bit too far. This is there's no experience in this at all that I had my tag possessed yesterday evening. I'm not referring to that at all in the slightest.
I think you also got to take into account that going second when you're building your list. You can't assume that when you're building your list you're going to go first. You've got to have something in there that you're happy to hide, or a war core that you don't mind putting the 3-point war core up just to flash pulse. So she'll probably die, but if your opponent has to spend half an order killing her, that's half an order less to get across the board.
And it's only 3 points.
And it's only 3 points. And it's total reaction remotes, I think, deserve a mention, whether it's the combi rifle one just covering a narrow or a short gap, or the HMG, because even though it may well die, again, that weight of dice can be a problem.
Yeah. Would you include? I want to say TO, but hidden deployment in that as well.
If you have a model in your list that's appropriate, or a model in your faction that's appropriate, like the Noctifer with missile launcher is a classic example. Just that threat of having the missile, even if you haven't got on your list, if your opponent knows that it's a threat, it might make him be more cautious.
Good point. Not everybody's got TO models, have they? That's the
no. But a camouflage token on a roof, even if it's a mine from a mine layer in a building, can be enough of a deterrent to stop people coming the quickest way across the table.
Yeah, good point.
You can be sneaky like that. I do kind of agree with the way the game is at the moment. It's very hard to ARO your way out of going second.
Yeah.
There are a couple of factions I think that can do it. I think Varuna can do it with that ridiculous fire team of theirs, with the Orc and the Kamau with the multi-sniper, and that fire team can be very defensive if it's in the right place, because you've got something with MSV that can see through any smoke shenanigans, and an Orc with a foyer backing it up as well, which is a tough piece to dislodge because it's got 2 wounds, a lot of armor, and a decent ballistic skill. But they're corner cases now more than anything. I think the days where you can have, for example, a grunt fire team, which used to be really good, cheap defensive fire teams to stick on a roof, I don't think they can survive long enough nowadays, unless the terrain allows you to line them all up so they can't be taken on one at a time.
Which, there's always kind of that Death Star encounter thing. Right, well, thanks for that.
I think it'd be interesting to get people's comments on this, wouldn't it? I think that's, there's quite a lot for people to give us feedback on there.
If you've got a plan or a tactic or something that helps you going second to win the game, drop us a comment below. I'd love to read them and get better at this game. I've been playing it for many years, but I always want to get better. I always want to see how other people do things. That's why tournaments are awesome. And with that, do you like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. We've got battle reports either side of this video. Are you guys dancing again? You are, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah.
No, we put him off.
Yeah, you put me off. Okay, so
mission accomplished.
Thanks for watching, and join us next time. And I'll leave the last words to you two.
Ta-ra.
Take care, guys. Catch you in the next one.
Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please give us a like. And if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. It all helps to keep us motivated and raises the profile of our channel and Infinity the Game, bringing it to a wider audience. And don't forget, if you're so inclined, you can also find us on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you.